Hello and welcome into FDF with Laird. I'm Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdino on FDF. Here today to open some very first reward packs, or really see my tournament points and see which packs we're going to get. I will say that I don't know if I had more success than I thought I was going to. It's been a very strange week on FDF because we obviously have some players that have been released into the marketplace. And so there's an opportunity to get a lot more shares of those players. But I also had 100 founders packs. So I kind of had exposure to everyone that it was available on the platform, except for 3 players, one of which I can't even remember who it was. But I know I had no Mbappe and no Vicario. And of course, Vicario was the 3rd highest ranked goalkeeper this tournament. And Mbappe was 2nd, I believe. Yeah, 2nd, thanks to his penalty towards the end of Real Madrid's win. So I've got 1,750 tournament points that can turn into some packs here. We get to reveal our winners here. This is the first time I'm doing this. And I will say that a new version of Football.Fun is available. Let me update now. I will say that the last few days on Football.Fun has been absolute bananas. It's the only way I can describe it, that I wasn't expecting what's happened, both in the number of players that we've seen kind of just what feels like skyrocket. And I woke up today to see some of the prices on these players, and I'm flabbergasted in how quickly they've moved. And a lot of it, I think, was explainable for a little bit. Like we saw a run up to the Real Madrid guys heading into yesterday's game because they were the last team left. And it was kind of like your last opportunity to get tournament points. But to see it keep going is wild. And I actually commented earlier to somebody that that the difference, I don't know, some of these prices I think are nuts. And I will say that since I said this was literally 59 minutes ago, I was saying the difference between Mbappe, who at the time was 0.431, 43 cents, and Michael Olise. So I feel like that should be much closer. Not financial advice, of course, more like football advice. But Olise was at 0.184. When I said this, he is now 0.226 an hour later. So obviously somebody, or maybe many people, thought they should be able to, they should be closer. And so, yeah, it's just been kind of a wild ride this week. And Lamine Yamal, as we can see here, just kind of keeps growing. And, I think there's no question that certainly amongst what the community feels that he's the best player on the game, which is why his price looks like this. And yeah, it's just crazy. Steph said today is absolutely crazy. Early So Rare vibe bananas. I'm not even sure. Like I was on So Rare during like the Gary V boom and seeing, prices kind of go nuts. But I also at the time didn't have exposure to the best players. And I think that's one of my favorite things about Football.Fun is because we only have the best players, you are able to kind of get the exposure to that. So like when we saw Mbappe fly to absurd prices early, in that So Rare boom of 2021, 2020, so long ago, I don't remember. I think it was 2021. Like if you didn't have Mbappe, sure, what is it? All tides or high tides lift all boats, whatever the hell that phrase is. But like, obviously if Mbappe goes up, everybody's going to go up. But if you didn't have somebody like Mbappe, and he was certainly the most expensive player in the game, it just felt like not that you were missing out, but there was just no mechanism for you to really get exposure to Mbappe. And on Football.Fun, you absolutely can, regardless of your budget. And I think that's what will always make Football.Fun such an interesting enterprise to be a part of, because if you wanted one share of Lamine Yamal, if you had 56 cents, you probably need 57, maybe a little more for the fees. But right now, it's like, however you want to describe the whole, like, are we early? Obviously we are, because it's the first week, regardless of like where this goes. Early is early. And so the way that I've been kind of working on Football.Fun and my kind of portfolio of players is, there are plenty of people out there who can kind of like max buy every day. I'm not one of them. And so but I talk to plenty of people who do, and they're just like, oh yeah, I'll just get everyone, and $350, and that's it. And so the way that I've been kind of doing it is also not very successful in terms of getting the lowest price possible. I set my slippage really high for the players that are being released. And then I, was just kind of like going further with it. And so have I sold any shares yet? I can't even remember. I guess we could look, but I don't think if I've sold any, it's only to kind of like redistribute. But as we know, there are plenty of players who still haven't been released, and there's not going to be a release today, which I think is kind of making us, gives us a little bit of a break. I'm going to try to, oh no, I can't do it here. Just kind of looking at, there are certainly players who I think are still in terms of my, kind of like my buy-in prices and where I think they're going. I think there are plenty of players that I think get overlooked, and I'm going to do some like weekly rankings for all of these players, just in terms of the tournament, and like where we go with the fantasy perspective. And then, but as we see, like, let's see, I know Pedri was one who was like, hasn't been released yet. And like, I really like Pedri, so it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. We have like Locatelli, Oblak, Cucurella, basically anyone here who's still at the 0.0125. And the reason I have shares of these players is because I got them in the founders packs. And so, yeah, so we've got, Svensson. Who else? We have Burkhart, Kobel, Lautaro Martinez, Rodri, Yildiz. Let's see who we have left. Isak, Singo. We have both Bellinghams, I believe. João Pedro, Matt Sells, Chevalier, Di Lorenzo, Leao, who I believe is hurt this weekend, or actually made for 2 weeks. This one, Dean Huijsen, I don't know how you say that. Huijsen sounds like the Chinese sauce, but it's not. But he absolutely smashed this game week. So I'll probably look at him when he goes. Danny Olmo, Hakimi, Dembele. Like, we still have some very good players who haven't been brought to the marketplace yet. And so, over the next few days, we should be getting everyone into the game, meaning all of the players into the game, so that we can kind of play the game as it is. And so, based on this past tournament, as you can see, I had certain number of shares per player, and there was an adjustment on the TP and the tournament points and skill points that were rewarded for this. So if you looked at your winnings yesterday, they're probably a little bit higher today. And so the top 5 forwards, as we saw, Yamal, Mbappe, Salah, Ekitike, and Haaland. And then midfielders, Vitinha. Vitinha is the only one who, actually, I don't know if any of these guys have been released yet. Kudus, Pedri, Caicedo, and Odegaard. Did Caicedo get? Oh, he did. Okay. So Caicedo, and I'm not sure if Odegaard did. Let's see. Oh, he did. Okay. Obviously, I didn't get in more on those. And Kudus definitely has, but man, he looked really good for Spurs. I'm just saying. But anyway, those are the top 5 midfielders. And then Huijsen. I wish somebody would just help me out on that one day. Van Dijk, Cucurella, Ruben Diaz, and Pedro Porro. It's worth noting that the Bundesliga and Serie A did not have games this past weekend, so it should be probably much more competitive for the weekend coming up. And then 3 Prem keepers amongst the top 3 there: David Raya, James Trafford, and Vicario from Spurs. And so, like I said, 1,750 tournament points. And I'll be honest, there was a like a OG user TP payout earlier, and I got a legendary pack, and I forget who I got in there. We could probably look. I don't know if this is going to like give away anything here. Let's see. Actually, I can probably. I don't think they were packs. Maybe let's see. So I ended up doing one legendary pack, and then 3 epics, and let's see. Can I do? Oh, let's see. I guess it doesn't show you who you got from your pack. It will if I just clear it all out, though. I'm almost certain of that. Go to squad and then development. I don't think that does all of it, but maybe it does. Mixelin, who, thank you for that help, obviously knows what they're doing as they currently sit 3rd in the leaderboard. So GG's Mix on that one. But anyway, squad development, there you go. So I wanted to do it. There we go. So I got in the legendary pack, I got Mignon, Lenormand, Fabian Ruiz, and Danny Olmo. And I wouldn't say I was thrilled about any of them. Maybe Mignon, I guess. But then in the epic packs, I got some Kimmich, Palmer, Douay, Saka, Raya, Cunha, Kirkez, Romagnoli. Oh, I got it. And then a bunch of smaller ones of these guys here. So it's at least, sitting on a decent number. But the way that I wanted to do this drop, basically, like now that the reward packs are available, I think from from the perspective of getting the most for what you get, I think the epic packs are the best. The pro packs are fun because you obviously get more of them. They're only 50. Although I see my tournament, but do I have to like claim my? Here we go. Let's just do it. I was gonna say, I think, ooh, this is fun. So I actually got more skill points than tournament points. So Yamal got me 304 tournament points, Mbappe 193. So those are 2 players that I did buy. I think I bought some Salah. 111, Ekitike and Haaland were the guys. And then, like I said, I have kind of like exposure to a lot of people right now. I'm going to have to trim all of this at some point. I actually got more from Vitinha than I did Yamal, probably because everybody owns Yamal. And then, yeah, Huijsen. This is fun. And then, man, literally, like, I got 97 out of 100 players, and Vicario was one, and of course, he's in the top 3. So let's see what else. Courtois, 13 points short. Oh, that's fun. I didn't know you could do that. Does it keep going? Oh, no. Anyway. All right. Or is that all of it? So then, okay, there we go. So I've got 1,700 TP. I'm going to be honest. There's a small part of me that wants to just wait and get the 2,000, like wait until I can get a legendary pack, because I like the idea of having thousands of shares of players. And obviously, if I open a bunch of epic packs, they can accumulate over time. Services way too crazy. There is a little bit of a crazy. I'm not really going to do it. Don't worry. But I think I think in a game where I will probably try to like trim down the number of players I have. I mean, like I said, I have exposure now. It might be all 100 actually. Do I have all 100? I still only have 97. So I definitely don't have Vicario. I'm trying to think. I don't even know who the other ones are that I have left. But it's fine. It's fine. So yeah, my guess is um, just go through a ton of epic packs, and then for the next tournament this weekend, we get some more. But obviously, the big thing that I'll have to do is to spend some of those skill points on bringing my players out of development. So I want to walk through this with anybody who is not familiar with it, and frankly, most of us are not familiar with it. But basically, when you win shares of players, whether they're so like when they come out of the packs, they go into your development squad here. So these are shares that I can buy, that I can sell. Excuse me. What I can't, oh, I'm sorry, I can't even sell them. I hold them. Excuse me. But I need to promote them to my active squad in order to use them. And in order to do that, I need skill points. And so if I wanted to, how do I get to like, how do I actually promote them? Holdings, maybe. There we go. So we can see my development squad value is currently 448.31. I guess let's keep that number in mind while we as we open some more. Oops, I keep clicking. Why does it not? Let's see. There we go. So if I want to promote Kimmich, does it tell me how much it is? I mean, is there any reason why I wouldn't want to promote Kimmich? Like, I want to have as much Kimmich as possible. Now, they do have a fairly tough matchup against Leipzig this weekend, but we'll see. We'll see. But anyway, let's not do that now because we might get more from our packs. So let's just open some packs. That's why we're here, right? So I think I'm just going to go with a bunch of epic packs. 200 tournament points each. The 50 ones, I don't know. 25 shares of someone just doesn't feel as fun as 110, even though I get 4 times of it, theoretically. Steph said, legendary is more of a gamble because if you don't get players you want, it's not good. And you're absolutely right. It's absolutely more, I don't like to use the word gamble, but it's absolutely a bigger risk reward situation because it's like, oh, if you end up with 2,000 shares of Yamal, that's pretty cool. If you end up with 2,000 shares of Romagnoli, no offense, not as cool. And that's sort of how I felt with that first legendary pack when I got Lenormand and Danny Olmo. So maybe it's just better off to do the epic. So let's open an epic pack and see what we got. All right, we got 172 share, 72.7 shares of Omar Marmouche, Mourmignon, Burmo, and Singo. This feels like a pretty brutal pack. $12. Now, Singo and Mignon aren't on the market yet. Is Marmouche? Yeah, I think he is. So theoretically, these are like shares that I'm getting at the bottom. Oh no, Mignon. Is Mignon there? I keep getting mixed. Like I keep forgetting like who has actually been. Oh no, he hasn't been. All right. So getting some Mignon, I guess, from that first pack is not bad. Not bad at all. Before you open these, what is your current bankroll cash situation? Knowing this would make it much more interesting because we could look at each guy from a buy or sell perspective. Do you mean like how much have I put in already? Or is it like I bought 100 founders packs, which was 2,000. And then I've bought different, like I max bought a few different players. I'm guessing it's around 3,000, 3,500 maybe surface, something like that. I can go back and do the math, although math isn't always fun. Okay. Gabriel, Ekatike, Upamecano, who I don't believe is, yeah, he's not out yet. And Job, $20 pack, rough in value right now. But again, Upamecano is at the lowest he could. Oh, both of them actually are. Um, so 150 shares of Upamecano. How much cash do you have on hand? Having cash on hand to buy the new players tomorrow seems very important. Oh, I spent most of it that I had on there, but it's so easy to deposit. So I have $92 right now. But I basically end up moving USDC on what for each one. I don't hold a lot of it. So we'll see. Hold on. Okay. We'll get some more. We've got 1,000, 1.37, now 1.17 after this. Gyökeres. Rafinha. There we go. 124 shares of Rafinha. Wow, he's 0.12 already. Courtois. I love goalies. And Vinny. Oh, that's a pretty solid pack. $50 pack right there ish. 49. I'll take that. I'll take it. So like surface to follow up kind of on your question. I'm not playing. Ooh, Rodri. I'm not playing in a way to like max out all of my, like I'm not going $350 on as many players as I can for each drop. I'm trying to be a little more uh targeted in the guys I go after. And I think that's the way I'll always play. Anyway, Rodri, some more Courtois, Fabian Ruiz, and more Job. I've seen better packs, like one that I opened. Oh yeah, now we have this cooldown. I forgot about that. So there is a cooldown on each level. So we now have 9 minutes, but this will gives us time. Oh, hold on. I get claim some more stuff here. I think that was all my objectives that I've claimed that I needed to claim. Yeah. Okay. So looking at the squad right now, we'll go to the development squad. I don't know which view I like better. This or where did it go? Ooh, we got form in there too. That's nice. God, Elise 0.223. So I will let's see. Oh wait, I wanted to go to the development. Here we go. And just see how much more we want in the game. And I assume the price of I feel like I'm doing something wrong here in terms of trying to can I only do this multi-select? So if I wanted to do, let's see, like Douay, PSG are at home against Angers this weekend, or it's actually Friday. If I wanted to just promote all of those, so it's 191 skill points. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. There we go. So of my 2,000 skill points, 191 will go to the 365 shares of Douay that I have. Now, if I do Mignon, where I have 4,000 shares, let's see what that gets us. So it cost me a quarter of my skill points. NEP has also played a similar game once, only with player shares. As far as I know, this project no longer exists. What are the reasons why this shouldn't happen here? So what do you personally think makes this project better so that it doesn't go bankrupt? Blue Tomatoes, I actually did a couple streams with the founder of FDF, Adam. They are, if you're watching, are you watching on YouTube? Yeah, you are. There's a playlist, excuse me. There's a playlist that shows all of the past videos I've done. And Adam is a former Football Index user and goes through all of the different mechanisms that that Football.Fun uses in order to avoid what happened to Football Index. And one of the big things that gave me, I guess, comfort on the platform is that Football.Fun has no access to our wallets, like none. And so it's not like we're paying them. It all goes into a smart contract and it's all on the blockchain for everybody to see if you're so inclined to do so. And so there are all these different mechanisms in place that essentially have it in a safer spot. Now, I'm not to say that nothing can happen. I mean, obviously anything can happen in anything, but the way that I have been exposed to those things, and I wasn't on Football Index or whatever the other one was, Footstock. It seemed like the big problems there were essentially the never-ending supply and the total lack of transparency in terms of the shares, and also basically where all the money went. And literally all three of those things are kind of closed off on Football.Fun. That we know exactly what the supply is. We know what the total supply can be, the active supply currently. I mean, anytime you go into a player, now that I actually want to click on Kimmich and I have to get out of these. Like we know that there are the circulating supply right now is 4 million shares. There are 3.5 active of Kimmich, and it can go up to 25 million. And so each player, we know what the max is. We know exactly how money is, how you basically use your own wallet so that there's a clear separation of company funds. That Football.Fun takes a 5% fee, sometimes 20%, depending on the amount of trading that's going on. But basically, like that's how they make their money. And it's not like they can make significantly more money by issuing all these additional shares or all of these additional players. And it feels like the game is set up so that it is both rewarding from a user perspective, but also done so in a way that keeps the platform, I hate to keep using the word sustainable, but there is a significant amount of time that has been spent on ensuring that the game is as fun as possible for its users. No, I mean, I was going to say no pun intended. It's not really a pun, but like we can joke all we want about the use of the word fun in the name, but it's like central to what they do. And so the game has to be rewarding for its users while also being a place that requires skill to be successful at it. This is not like a place where just like you join and everybody is successful. Like you have to be able to work at the game. And part of it is understanding what you do with your skill points and how you win tournament points and turn those into additional shares that you can sell if you want or use them in tournaments. And so I think there's just every, I hate to say this, but the lessons they've taken from past failed projects that other people had are significant. And Adam and a lot of the a lot of the people who work at FDF were parts of those platforms. And so they understood what happened, why they didn't succeed, and were able to take the good parts of those platforms and put them into Football.Fun. And no interruption at all. That's what these things are for. But honestly, like I would highly recommend going back to that, to those streams. Now, the game is a little different now because when we were playing like for the Champions League and Club World Cup, it was all free to play, and this is very different now. And I'm going to have Adam on a Football.Fun with Laird episode. I probably not this week, but next week, just to talk about a whole different number of things. Today was kind of a big day for them, so I didn't want to like interrupt the first big reward day. But certainly don't ever hesitate to like ask a question like that. And I say that because Adam himself has always been very open about addressing people's concerns from those platforms. Anyway, so did we get to 9 minutes, or is this just turning into the longest 9 minute? Oh, we have 1 minute left to open another pack. So yeah, let's see. I forget what the slowdown is, if it's per pack or if it's per um sorry, I have somebody here um in a Discord that I'm in. I'm going to share this picture. I don't want to I'm not going to go, or I'm not going to dox them who they are, but this is the pack that they just got. It's Marmouche, Olise, Yamal, and Oblak. This is like one of the this is one of the best packs I've ever seen. Not that I've seen like thousands of packs, but man, that's awesome. That is whew. Anyway, let's go back to our fun. Oh my gosh, there's even a countdown to just make it even worse. Blue Tomatoes, if you are not signed up yet, this is where I have to like push my referral code, or anybody who's here who wants to get involved. There is a referral code in the description of this video on YouTube. If you join and get up to level 10 rep, which just basically includes a bunch of different objectives and whatnot, you'll get a free pro pack, I believe, which oh my gosh, available soon. Such a tease, which will get you well on your way to having shares. And so, yeah, there's that. So go sign up. Oh, this soon thing is killer. Killer. Anyway, let's see here. I just see somebody here who got some Pedri. I would love some Pedri. Just because they haven't released them yet. But anyway, so basically the next decision is, who do I promote from my development squad? And the way that I think a lot of people will look at it is different now than they will kind of moving forward. And part of that is because in order to have your players be eligible for fantasy tournaments, they have to have active contracts. And everybody got 4 free contracts when they initially bought their shares. And as you can see here, like I extended some players, and I really like not extending Yamal early on was really bad, because now $15 a match in order to extend Yamal. And now, so basically after the next 3 matches, he will, like, my shares will no longer be eligible for fantasy tournaments. And so I'll go in with my 5,400 shares and get nothing tournament points wise because of the active contract. So that's just something that I'll have to think about as we move forward. Of, it's almost like, do I buy more shares or buy the contracts? And the contracts are also based on the number of shares you have and the price. So if Yamal keeps going up, like the contract price only goes up. All right, let's get another epic pack here. Down to 7. Jonathan Ta. Vardiol. All right. A little more Salah. That's always nice. I'm fine with that. And Allison. 53.6. So it's actually a very good pack. Let me see. It's where do we get 53? 30, 38, 46, 53. Yeah, there it is. 53.6 pack market value based on the gold, but 29 of which is Salah, which, like, hey, sweet. Because as we see, Salah is the 4th most expensive player right now at 17 cents, trailing just Yamal, Mbappe, and Olise. Yeah, I don't think that was bad. Yeah. Agreed, Steph. Not bad at all. Now I'm dead. Now I have 4 hours, and I think part of this is just to make sure that people aren't just like locking and loading. loading and selling, excuse me. And so now, skill point wise, I don't think I need to have any guys moved up until, well, really until they play. That's the fun thing about Football.Fun is like once the tournaments start, you're not locked in. You're locked in like when the players actually, I think it was when they enter the field, if they do. And so, let's see, Fabian Ruiz plays Friday, so does Due, and I can cheat a little bit with it. Yeah, and it's certainly not cheating at all. But if I don't necessarily want to use my skill points right now, I can wait until these guys are in the lineup, and then I can see when they'll play, or see if they'll play, and if they do, then I can move them up. So if we look at the next tournament, sorry, I meant to go here. So there's no midweek tournament. So we have them this weekend, and there are many more matches this upcoming weekend tournament, because like I said, Serie A and Bundesliga were not there. So Friday is actually a very big one. So we have Bayern against Leipzig, PSG against Angers, and then Chelsea away to West Ham. That's Friday. So essentially, I'll have to decide by there 2:30. That's my local time, 2:30 p.m. Eastern on Friday. Well, probably a couple minutes before, whether I want to put those development squad shares of Kimmich in. I mean, surely I do. Now it's a bit of a tougher matchup, as we know. So 437 shares. What did we say the number was? I don't know why I keep forgetting that I have to multi-select in order to see this. So Kimmich, in order to do Kimmich, it's 445 skill points. That's actually a lot, feels like, when I have 2,000. So the other thing that can happen is amongst my development squad, if there are players I don't want, I can cut them. And that is pretty much what I think I'll do for some of them. Blue Tomato said, how does a scoring matrix work? So it's actually quite, I was going to say complicated. It's a complex, let's do it that way. But if you go to the FDF wiki, everything is here, but literally like how FDF works, tournaments, and then, yeah, there are some standard scoring things. I believe Adam described it as you want to be able to watch a match, and if you're watching a player and you think they're playing very well, they should have a good score on FDF. You can go into it here. There's like big chances missed, big chances created, passes in the opponent's half, successful dribbles. I mean, if you play So Rare, you're familiar with a lot of these interceptions, clearances off the line, stuff like that. And so the very interesting thing is, and this is one I was talking to somebody about the other day, which I actually don't love this. I understand why they do it, but I don't love it. But anyway, you get bonus points for wins and draws. And they do this in order to get basically like a league. What was the word they described? It's not an equalizer, but it's like, is it fair that if Cole Palmer, he's actually a terrible example. If Rodri has a very good game against in the Manchester derby, that should be worth more than when PSG play Angers. And so you see here every Premier League game. So every time you have a player in the Prem who is on a winning team, they get 30 points, and it's 15 points for a draw. And then as you see, La Liga, Bundesliga, Serie A is 20 and 10. And then Liga 1, which just, I think it's funny because I don't think this is really a slap against Liga 1. It's more just like PSG are so dominant there that you're just not going to get a lot of points when they win or draw. I'm not sure that like Bayern Munich, maybe this year's a little different because of that. But the fact that like La Liga has 2.5 dominant teams and Ligue 1 really only has one, Um, that's it. And so, yeah. So that's and then with big matches, as we see here, like Real Madrid in like El Clasico, you'll get 30. And when PSG face Lyon or Monaco, they get 20. And all of this is done, yeah, by these Opta power rankings. So they actually don't even um, like it's not like FDF are deciding who's good and who's not. Um, so 125 plus is good. I mean, we can just look at the leaderboard from this, not the leaderboard, sorry, the live scores from this past tournament, and you'll see like over 200 is very good. As we saw, like Yamal and Mbappe were over 200. Vitinha got close. I think this is actually the highest Vitinha. That's higher than Vitinha would have scored all of last year. But yeah, and again, these are probably low scores because we had two leagues that were missing. Bayern Munich play RB Leipzig this weekend or this Friday. Not the easiest of matchups, so like we could see that. And then Serie A, there are a couple lopsided ones with Inter and Napoli. I think have good matchups, and so it's just kind of a yeah. There's that. So the other so the other thing that you can do is if you win someone you don't want, and I actually am in this weird position because like I'm a Danny Olmo. I'm not like a hater, but I don't get Danny Olmo. I don't know. I don't get him. So if I wanted to cut him, meaning I kind of like relinquish my 3,000 shares that I got from that legendary pack, I get 273 tournament points back, which, as we just saw, is enough for an epic pack. And so the value that I get is obviously much lower. Like I'm not going to be able to get so much more for my Olmo shares, excuse me. But you get something back in the form of tournament points, which allow me to get more packs. And so that's just one example. I'm not going to cut Olmo because he hasn't been put on the market yet. And so given that he hasn't been, I think he probably gets higher, not financial advice. But if that's the case, then it's, those will be worth more in the future. But also it's probably cheaper to promote guys who haven't been like, do I have any Pedri? Is Pedri one I'm actually missing, or I might have Pedri in my active. Yeah. Okay. So I have 2,000 shares of Pedri. I'm just a Pedri guy. That's why I keep bringing him up. But amongst my like holdings, Kimmich is obviously much more expensive, but like Mignon is probably one I should promote because I have a lot of shares and I have him at a fairly cheap, at the cheapest he can be. What does this cost? 500 skill points. And AC Milan are against. I'm working on my rankings here, so I'll just give that away. Cremonese. So that's an interesting one. Yeah. So I'll probably cut guys when they start trading. Mom, can we buy Pedri? Mom, no, we have Pedri at home. Point to Danny almost. That is exactly it. That's exactly how I feel. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to be cutting anybody now, because it just seems like I don't necessarily need the tournament points. But we are just I'm at least in like an accumulation phase, but I'm trying to see here of like who I have. Like cutting Romagnoli probably doesn't get me much. Who else did I have selected? Like cutting Romagnoli gets me 30 tournament points. I don't have that much. He hasn't been Actually, he has been released. He's just not worth that much. And so, yeah, my guess is I don't cut anybody right now. And maybe we just, yeah. But I think I'm going to promote the guys I think will move up. So, like, let's see, let's get out how much 2,000 skill points. And if I want the guys up that I think will do well, Kimmich, Due, Fabian Ruiz, who hasn't, oh man. I just know like PSG with that massive matchup this weekend. Rafinha. How much does this cost? So 1,100 just to get these three guys in. To get 400 shares of Kimmich, 400 of Ruiz. Oh, it's interesting. I could only do half. Like I don't have to do all of them. If I add, no, I don't want to add Vinny. It sounds so funny, but like I wonder, like Arsenal play against Leeds this week. 30 points for a win from Raya. A clean sheet, a win clean sheet gets, I forget how much it is. He did it this past weekend. Let's see. So the clean sheet is 40. Yeah, 70 points for a win clean sheet. 80 points, really. Like Arsenal have a clean sheet win over Leeds at home. And we're looking at 90 points. And Leeds seem like I think Raya might have the highest upside this game week. And if that's like this coming weekend, and if that's the case, like maybe I want to bring up my 391 shares of Raya. And Mignon has a good matchup. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm like promoting goalkeepers after slandering them for weeks. 769.8 skill points in order to get these two guys in. I'm not sure what to do, to be honest. Thankfully, I don't have to do it today. Unfortunately, I have, let's see. So, where's my tournament point balance? Is that anywhere? Like in 3 hours and 44 minutes, you better believe I'm opening more packs. In fact, that'll get me some 25, whatever these things are. Can I see? Where do I see my tournament point balance? I feel like it's like right here, but I'm missing it. Maybe I can't until I go to buy the packs, but I can't actually go into the packs now. Oh well. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. Oh, maybe if oh yeah, well, this only shows me how much I won though. Not what I have left. This is fun though. I wonder, for some reason, actually, let me double check. Sorry, I'm going into the Discord because I thought, yeah, so like they rewarded 2 million tournament points and 1.5 million skill points in this tournament. But as you can see, like, so there's 500,000 more tournament points, but I actually won more skill points than tournament points. Which is certainly based on my skill rating, which I'm 28th right now. which is kind of fun to see. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Um, but yeah, and then the next thing at some point that I will end up inevitably trying to figure out is contracts and like when to start, because I've already extended some, but like you can see here, I didn't extend Vinny. What does this cost now? $6.33 to get 5 more matches, which doesn't seem so bad actually. And then I can't do any of these. $3.37 to get 5 more matches on Raya. And I think he goes up this game week because is going to do well. So let me just do that quickly. So I'm paying 67.4 cents per match to add 5 more to his contracts. I think the contract stuff is going to be the big separator when there are people who own a bunch of shares and then realize they don't have active contracts. And that's where like you start to get an edge by knowing where they go. Yeah, I think I want to promote some of these guys. Maybe I want to do it soon so that if they keep going up, they're not more expensive. Man, didn't win any Elise, which is kind of a bummer. But Kimmich, yeah, I mean, I have to do it in order to sell if I wanted to sell. I got to finish my and Mignon, because Mignon hasn't been released yet. He's quite cheap. I don't see myself keeping Lenormand. Palmer, like I probably want Palmer. I definitely want Salah. Let's see. Salah, Palmer. Promoting those 4. I can still do a little more. Oh, Raya, I wanted to. Oh, that might get me over. Oh no. 1691. Who do Real Madrid have this weekend? Courtois at Oviedo. So I'll probably want to do Courtois and Vinny. Can I sneak in Rafinha? Oh. So I actually, that's a bummer. So I got to kick one of these guys. Who do we kick? Who do Chelsea have this weekend? I thought they had somebody good. At West Ham on Friday. Oh yeah, we talked about that on Friday. What do we think? I can't believe like how much I besmirched goalkeepers, and here I am with my first skill points. Like maybe I'll spend it on Mignon, Raya, and Courtois. Unbelievable. Let's get Courtois out of there so we can do that. This feels like such a cop out. Let's see what I'm trying to think of, like how much I have of the other guys. I need more exposure to these goalies. So Raya, yeah, like as you can see, I didn't buy any goalies. All the round numbers are just. So I have Raya. Trying to think of how many of these guys are at the low price. Oh, Upamecano. What does that cost to get to add him in? Ooh, okay. I can add 500 shares of Upamecano too. What was it? 2000 what? 68. And who else is it? Romagnoli, Singo, Burkhart, João Pedro. Ooh, Marmouche. And Job. Is Upamecano back? Is he gonna start on Friday? I guess I could wait until Friday. But what's funny is that I'm using a so rare inside here for the predicted lineups. Here I am saying you don't have to make lineups, but like it's more, do I want to bring these guys out? Ta and Upa. I think I have some Upamecano already though, which like isn't bad, but it's just, should I get some more? In a bit of a tough matchup. This doesn't look like I have much. Ooh, 1,500 shares. So this gets me over 2,000, right? Wasn't it? 500 shares? Yeah. Yeah, I could wait until kickoff. You're right. So my fear, Steph, is that these guys become more expensive to promote if their prices keep going up. And so I'm kind of like taking the thought that they will continue to go up, particularly guys like Upamecano, who hasn't been released yet, and Mignon, that they'll be more expensive if their price is like 0.08 or something like that, whatever they are. So do we just promote and just learn our lesson? Or I still have packs open in 4 hours. And if I use all of my skill points, then I won't be able to, like if I got a bunch of Yamal or Olise, then I won't be able to promote them for this weekend. And that would be sad. What do we do? What should we do? I still see this Danny Olmo line. It's so funny, Blue Tomatoes. Do we promote or do we wait? It's also, I don't know what like page you guys look at for those of you who play Football.Fun regularly. Like what I asked a bunch of people this earlier or in a Discord, like what's your default like view? Like when you go on to, like I like looking at the transfers because wow, we're gonna hit 20 million. I don't know what happened like overnight, but somebody got very happy about Football.Fun. Like this is August 20. What's the first snapshot? 14.43. And we're now at 19.79. My gosh. My gosh. Yeah, if you're interested in getting involved in Football.Fun, and like I said, I think the stuff that's going on right now is not super indicative of what we're going to see once everybody has been released. Now, I will say this: we have the first. They're releasing the first 100 players 10 at a time. I don't know what we're going to do for the next. I think are there 40 left, 30 left. I forget how many it was. Nobody was being released today. Released meaning there are players who, like I have shares of some of these players. We talked about them before. Mike Mignon, one of them. Pedri, one of them. Those guys will be released at some point. But once that's done, then the game kind of changes because now we're like buying the market prices instead of trying to get them before everybody else does. And so once that happens, we'll just have a lot of different things to talk about, like promoting players and extending contracts and figuring out the optimal ways to get as many skill points as possible per tournament, because just having exposure to all of these guys doesn't get you as many skill points, because you're supposed to kind of like put your flag down on certain players to decide who you want to back. And there are already some players who I've kind of bought into that I bought into them because I think people don't like them. And it's going to be one of those, like, it only takes one time if they get into the top 5 in a particular tournament where, maybe it's Der Klassiker and El Clasico on the same weekend, and the Manchester Derby and whatever. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, look at, I was going to say Atletico Madrid, but let's be honest, they're probably never going to be the highest ones. But, it could be guys like that we see, get into the top 5 in a game week, in a tournament where we may not necessarily always see them. So the strategy changes significantly once everybody is out. But additionally with that, we still don't know how they're getting the second 100 players onto the platform, whether they're going to keep kind of dripping them out 10 at a time. I don't think it's going to be like a pack drop or pack sale. But we do have, like, once these guys are released, we have to get them to get the next 100, and then we can really play. So yeah, if you're interested in getting involved, there's a link in the description of this YouTube video. If you are watching this on Twitter, you can go over to YouTube. I also have tweeted a bunch with kind of the code that you can use that obviously helps support me as well. But you get a free pro pack after you reach level 10, which also just allows you to buy more. There are buy limits, which I didn't even get into today. Although Adam and I did talk about that previously, that there are buy limits on players and users in order to kind of keep the market steady. If you're a member of my Patreon, which is at patreon.com/Andrew M. Laird, there's a link in there as well. And yeah, also in the Football.Fun Discord, there are plenty of people who will get you a code. So just, I would say don't join without a code. It doesn't have to be mine, but make sure you have a code so you do get that free pro pack after you dive in. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, either on YouTube or in the under the tweet where the video was on X, or reach out to me on Discord, and get involved, because this has already been super fun, and we're on literally the first tournament. So thank you to everybody for coming. Good luck with all of your packs, and please make sure you get outside.